welcome to this edition of the A2P Cast. This time we are talking about Steam machines. Today it is Tuesday, and we've just gotten the announcement out of CES that Valve has sort of shown off all of their new boxes. They've partnered with more than a dozen hardware developers to put out different customized versions of the Steam machine. So this week we have Josh Hartman, we have Mike Shipsky, the usuals. We also have with us Mike Hogue.
Special guest.
Our special guest.
Yes.
Mike Hogue. The wine that Mike Shipsky is drinking, please explain it to us. It's a vintage. What is the vintage?
It's vintage year 2013.
What a year! What a year!
What a year! It was a great year.
Yes.
Happy New Year, everybody.
But tell us about the wine.
It is from the great state of Washington. It is Hogue wine. That's right. It's from the homestead, and from what Mike Shipsky has said, once you get on the homestead, you don't ever want to get off. So just don't do it.
So Mike Shipsky is going to stay on the Hogue homestead tonight.
Yes, he is having
I have
the
no
Hogue.
choice. I have no choice. I have no say in this matter.
He's
I
being
have to.
forced.
He's being forced to have a little bit of the Hogue sweet nectar.
So let's talk about Steam machines. Let's get into what we do here. The most surprising thing I found about this announcement was the huge difference in price. I thought all of these machines were going to be $800 or $1,000 and up. But it turns out we do have some models coming out at around $500. We also have some models that are topping out at about $6,000. So what are our thoughts with that? Because the $500 model does really put them in direct competition with consoles. You know, the One and the PS4.
Yeah, definitely. I think that. Yeah, when I first heard of the Steam machine, I just assumed, okay, this is going to be like. I just envisioned like $1,000 thing that you're going to, and there was going to be like kind of a hard line between next gen consoles and Steam machine. Steam machine is going to be its own thing, but it's weird. It can kind of be a hybrid. It can kind of be both. It can be its own thing for certain Steam machines, and it can be in direct competition of the Xbox One and PS4 for other types of Steam machines. So it brings the idea of like a PC for everyone. Like there's a PC price point for everyone. Now there's going to be a Steam box or a Steam machine price point for just about everyone.
But doesn't that necessarily create a problem? Because you have consoles where the games, and Josh, you made this point before we started recording, that games are sort of tailor-made for consoles. They're optimized for consoles in a way that, you know, when you put the disc in, obviously it's going to work. It's not going to say, oh, you don't have the right hardware requirements, et cetera, because it's a console. That's the point of a console. But if you're sort of the sort of person that is shopping for a console or used to the console market, and you say, oh, I'd like a Steam machine, do you guys think that crossover is going to be hard for those sort of people to get, or is it? Do you still kind of understand that this is still a PC, and that when you make that jump, you kind of have to take the good with the bad, and that it'll do some things better, but it'll also just not play some of your games.
Yeah, I think that will be the biggest sell, is because we've always like, this is the biggest question, is like who's their primary target for this product? Who will want a Steam machine the most? And they're going to have to be really like forceful in saying like you want to cross over to the PC realm, and like they're trying to like, you know, have the fact that it's on a TV like not as scary as like actually having a tower PC with a 20-inch screen, and like you're 3 inches from it, as opposed to, you know, you're sitting on a couch and you're playing a PC game. But they're going to have to make that pitch of like, you know, you can do this. So. But that is a good question of like, will the $500 machine have the same capabilities of the $6,000 machine? Obviously not. But will there be compatibility issues? Will there be like software issues? What?
Yeah, that's the thing that strikes me is what I don't understand the entire concept behind the Steam machine because it kind of ignores the entire distinction between what PC gaming is and what console gaming is. And there are certain advantages and disadvantages to both. And obviously, console gaming's big advantage is that the hardware is set. And you can say it's also a disadvantage that it never updates itself until another generation of consoles comes out. But in being set, so much effort goes into tweaking games to work perfectly on those consoles. And PC games, you can only ever just buy the most up-to-date things and hope for the best and see how things work. I mean, most everything is, I think, pretty compatible. The non-supported card, as long as you're in the realm of up-to-date, you should be fine. But you still won't get as much efficiency, I think is the word I'm looking for, out of your hardware than you do with console games because a PlayStation 3 doesn't change. Everyone has a PlayStation 3, and when the developer's working on that game, they know exactly what it's doing. They know exactly how every single person's PS3 is going to react because they all use the exact same components. And the Steam machine, I thought initially, was going to be a similar idea, to try and bring PC gaming into that idea of console gaming, but it doesn't seem to want to exist in either world. It's not. There are some modular ideas that you can update it yourself, but I mean, it's up to each individual hardware manufacturer. But if you're not going to give the consumer that kind of consistency, if you're not going to give developers that kind of consistency, what makes a Steam machine different from a PC? Especially when, my God, a $6,000 Steam machine, you could buy quite a PC for $6,000,
Mm-hmm.
and it would also, actually be a computer. You could then use it for everything else a computer does, rather than it being limited to Steam's operating system, which can only play games, and not even all the games that you would normally be able to play on a PC, just the games that have been optimized for the Steam operating system.
Primarily Linux, and this is another.
Right.
But this is another point that surprises me. Like, these are pretty big PC gaming industry names: Origin, Alienware, Falcon Northwest. They're committing a machine. They're committing to making a machine that will primarily run a Linux-based operating system, which, as we all know, Linux doesn't have the most stellar record of gaming.
Well, but here's the thing. I think Valve has convinced the tech people, or the people that are interested in this, that it's a cool idea. They haven't convinced consumers yet.
Yeah.
They haven't done any kind of real marketing or advertising to speak of that says, hey, this is why you should buy it. And so, honestly, I think it might be a little early. I mean, maybe the plan is to get the interest by showing off the hardware, but I still feel like this is going to be a really, really niche thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're not showing the average consumer why they should buy it.
Yeah.
I was actually going to make that point. Was that when you get into price figures that are so high that it kind of it pushes out, quite frankly, pushes out much of your market. You're no longer in the rational market. Rational meaning what a normal consumer would buy. You're in the niche market, very much in the niche market where, I mean, have you ever seen an advertisement for caviar?
It's a good point.
It's a really great point.
No.
Tech caviar.
So there's no, but there's no point.
There's no point,
because-
right.
But is the caviar market not still? I wouldn't say it's I don't know. It's not. I've never seen the market data analysis
We have
of
no
caviar.
statistics.
But we know that caviar exists. We know that it's out there, and it serves a certain purpose, especially in a very wealthy class. And I think this is exactly that little market. I mean, how many not only developers, but how many software engineers make well over six figures that would say, well, fuck, why not?
Right.
Should I bleep that out? Sorry. Fuck.
No, it's okay. We say fuck all
We've
the time.
done worse.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
But no, I think that's a really good point to sort of equate this with, caviar or, any sort of like premium good that doesn't require marketing, because the people who are going to buy it already know everything about it. You don't have to convince them that this is a neat thing. They know it, and if they want it, they'll spend their money on
And
it.
they also just by having that little insider, they know why they should spend
Yeah.
that sort of money.
But
right,
then-
they're already informed.
But again, this brings us back to the price point. Why make a Steam machine that is $500?
well, I mean,
when you know like that the people that are in the know that want to buy it are probably willing to spend like upwards of
Well,
$1,000.
okay, so but why does McDonald's have a dollar menu?
Put me on the spot here. I don't know.
Well, because they know that there's a market. There's something that's going to bring people in.
Oh, it's the gateway.
This is the gateway drug. Yeah,
It's very much
well,
so.
but they need something that's going to be at least marketable on a mass standard. I mean, let's put it this way: the $6,000, it may not be their flagship. Their flagship. It may be the $500. It may be at least a price point like $500. At least puts them in the same market as maybe an Xbox, and thus it puts them at least in the eyes of the public a viable option, and thus it doesn't seem out of the way,
Yeah, but like
even if they're not going to buy it.
But
It's
once
still
again-
something that's there.
But once again, like you brought up the point, like they've convinced all these manufacturers, but they haven't convinced the consumers. So it brings me back around to the point of how did they convince all these manufacturers to make them? Like how did they
it's
convince?
true. Well, it's maybe. I mean, Valve knows what they're doing, and
Yeah.
by that, I don't necessarily mean that they know what they're doing, but everything they've done so far has been
Good.
relatively successful
Successful,
and
very
smart and tight. Steam is hugely successful, and their games are all great and well made. And so you kind of would expect that, well, whatever they throw themselves behind in the future will continue to be to that level of quality. And I believe it probably will, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's commercially viable or viable in a way. Like, I read an interview where Gabe Newell, I believe at CES actually, sort of took a shot at Microsoft, and the interviewer asked him, what do you think of Microsoft selling 2 million Xbox Ones? And he said, well, we have something like 63 million Steam accounts, so they're the ones that actually need to catch up.
Mhm.
And I know it's all in fun, of course, but it does kind of seem like they do have their eye on not taking
Yeah.
down the console market, but competing in the console
very
market.
much competing. This is the big challenge for them. They have that base user. Like they have 63 million people that use Steam. Very much so. I mean,
But on PCs,
but
on
on
Macs,
exactly.
on Linux,
But on
that they already have, that they use for other things.
how can you convince that base? Like, no, you want to come over to the television,
Right, and come over to the television, get rid of your mouse and keyboard, and spend $500 to $6,000
Mhm.
on a device that does less than the one that you're using Steam on now.
Exactly.
And that sounds like a really hard sell to me. Maybe some people
Yeah.
with a lot of disposable income, which I think the last time we talked about this is where we landed.
Yeah.
A lot of, a few people with a lot of disposable income will really love this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about also disposable income can be. People are in debt. I mean, people that want this will want it. I mean,
Spectre's got problems, guys.
yeah,
Big problems.
big problem. I mean, think. For some reason, I think there are a lot of people out there, just like the 40-Year-Old Virgin. You all know that movie, right?
Yeah.
With Steve
Yes.
Carell.
I don't know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Well, he is a single man in his 40s who has a lot of discretionary income, and he has a whole house filled with stuff. I mean, if somebody's going to take a chance, they're going to take a chance on Steam. At this point, if you have Steam, if you know Steam, I know Steam, and I'm not even that. I'm not even in the game of in the world of gaming. I know Steam. I actually like Steam. Is it a far stretch for me to, if I have discretionary income, to say, I trust them as a company. I like what I'm doing now. Could it be better this way? Because I like my Xbox. I like my.
Yeah, I think that definitely that's
are,
a huge part of their marketing, just that they are Valve and this is
Yeah.
Steam. I mean, that
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's...
Yeah.
anyone else would have already failed.
I think we've also ignored the controller, which is, I think, the most revolutionary part of the entire thing that they've created. The controller, which has like weird concave trackpad things
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
like huge array of customizable buttons. You can do whatever you want with it, and it looks really, really interesting. And watching the gameplay demos that they put out, this was weeks or months ago, but
I think did they do
it's
it?
remarkable.
Did they do a Civ 5. I think they did
Yeah,
a Civ
yep.
5 demo.
They did Civ 5.
Like-
they did something else that I don't remember.
But Civ 5 especially, like that for me,
It's,
is like,
that's
wow.
I mean, you
Play-
only use the mouse,
Yeah, you can
and
play
so it
Civ-
seems like that's so imprecise. But no, it looked so easy with their controller.
Yeah, I guess like this is the big for me. This has always been the big sticking point. Is like how do you play PC games on a TV? And if they solve that problem, that's a huge hurdle. And then of course we still have the convincing consumers they actually want to buy it. But yeah, like again, we've said Valve has thought this out. They have thought, okay, we need a revolutionary way to let people play these games,
Mhm.
and they've thought that out. So yeah, like I will say I'm completely on board with it, but I definitely will be.
So
looking at it.
should we say that we are cautiously optimistic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Negative until proven positive. I think that is the best term.
Okay.
Yeah,
I won't
we're
say
definitely-
it'll be success, but we're keeping a weather eye on the horizon for it.
Well-
and I think if we do find success, I think we can probably agree that we understand that the niche market will be fine. Those few
Yeah.
people who are interested in buying absurdly expensive computers, they almost. I wouldn't say that that's a risky business because no one expects that to take off. I think the people who are making those understand exactly how small the market is for that, and
They're
not,
the caviar makers.
right. They are the caviar makers. They don't expect it. They're not going to sit around with all this surplus thinking, "Oh, I didn't know it happened. I thought they were going to sell out." No, that's not going to happen. They're going to be fine. They're going to get exactly how much they measured out what they thought they'd make. What we need to really be looking for to see is how do these ones that are actually competitively priced with the next-gen consoles, how do they fare? Because that's the one that's really up in the air. PC gamers who want to do stuff on their on their televisions, who do have the income already to build these absurd towers of magnificence, LEDs, and liquid cooling, sure, you can count on them to be a steady supply, but can it actually compete, I think, is where we should leave off, is that is the big question.
And I think that's what the people at Valve are looking toward as well.
Yeah.
I almost think in a way the customizable controller is a really good thing. Going back when I was a kid, and I had a PlayStation. That was the game system for me. And Xbox, I didn't like the controller. I had no control over
The control?
The
I had no control over the control. I had no idea if I would like, and that's why honestly it was one of the big points for me as a kid.
The original Xbox controller was also the hamburger.
Yeah, it was a. It was
Which
a steering,
might have been
it
my
was a, it
hesitation.
was a
Yeah.
steer, it was a steering wheel.
Which
Yeah.
might have been my hesitation. But even to this day, I even though I have an Xbox now and I play, I still kind of look when I have the Xbox or the PlayStation controller. I just was for break. I was playing the Xbox or the PlayStation with my brother's PlayStation, and it just felt right to me. It was my controller. I liked it. It was what felt. It was childhood to me.
Was it a very expensive controller from Home Depot?
Yeah,
That's an inside joke. Don't worry yourself about that.
Don't worry, you pretty little head. But I think it's a very smart thing about kind of creating your own controller, because if Valve is also kind of playing at the fact that they want to try to bring people over from the PC world, and they're like, well, I don't like controllers. I don't want to do controllers. Well, don't worry, you can customize your controller.
because really the only thing on the front of every Steam machine is just two USB ports. Right?
And if this is
whatever
really,
you want to plug in there.
if this is really Valve's way of kind of getting into the console world, they're going to do it on the backs of the PC people. They know that's their market, and they can kind of ride in using that money. If they can convince the people on PC that this is something they can do as well, then as they ride on that little cushion, so to speak, then they kind of branch out like a virus and take.
Liz got dark quickly. All right, but so again, cautiously optimistic, I think, is the general consensus here. But really excited to see what happens. 2014 is sure to be a good year for Valve in a multitude of ways. Maybe we'll see another Left 4 Dead.
Half-Life
Another
3.
Half-Life 3. Yeah, I doubt
we'll
it.
just keep on dreaming. Huh?
Just
I will be withered and dead, long gone, when Gabe Newell's rotting corpse will say, Half-Life 3 announced! And I will say, shit, you fuck.
You
Also,
took too long.
Vision of You Dead sounds pretty good. I like
Thanks.
Ouch.
Ouch. Why do
Oh.
why do we let you onto this show?
This has got
Oh my
very dark.
gosh, this did get dark. We gotta go,
We gotta
guys.
get off.
We gotta go.
We gotta.
All right. I'm Mike Reifenberry. With me, Josh Hartman, Mike Shipsky, Mike Hogue. Talk to you guys next time.